Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to dive straight into unpacking all the new teasers and the new information that we've been getting from Crytek about update 2.4 and obviously the new event, as you can see on screen here. And the last video did really well in regards to kind of a, update teaser reaction video. It's a little bit different. I post a lot of gameplay, but it's nice to see that video do well, so I just want to, thank you guys for, liking the video, and I'll be doing this more often. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So obviously the new update, or the new event that is going to come with the update, is Judgement of the Fool. And obviously, I don't know how long it's been now, but they always just tell us it's coming soon. What I think is going to happen, if you didn't see the last video, by the way, I'll pin it, but June 6th, I think, is going to now be the date that we are just going to get an official, full-blown, dev video, where, they're actually going to tell us what's coming, the actual, video of, the battle pass, more perks and changes and stuff like that. I don't think it's going to be quite the actual event and update coming because, it's, as I'm recording this kind of late at night, and as this video's out, it's June 5th, which means it would just be tomorrow, but I don't think the event's going to actually just straight up come tomorrow. And along with, the new teasers, we got this image that was posted on their Twitter, or their X, whatever you want to call it. And this is the Brute. And we'll get more into the details about the Brute later when we go to Crytek's website. But it's a burning image, and obviously from initial looks, it just looks like Ursa, the bear from the Post Malone Murder Circus event. And that's what I thought. But again, the name is actually the Brute, and we'll get back into that a little bit later. What we're also getting is a new, I'm assuming this is going to be a part of a DLC. This is typically the style of image that they do when they're teasing a DLC, or possibly new Blood Bond skins. But this is the Ghost of Blanchett Graves. So it's obviously a Duster skin, which I think looks really nice. I actually used to use the Dusters all the time when I first started playing Hunt, and then I used the knuckle knife, and now I just use the throwing axes. But, it's got this little ram head on the side of each of the handles here. Just a clean skin. But this is definitely going to be, I'm assuming the name of the DLC. I don't think this is the name of the Dusters, but I could be wrong. And here we have Pearl Plantation and before and after. So this is a little bit more of a, deeper dive. They showed some more pictures of, DeSalle, but this is, I think, one of the more important ones to kind of go over. And we can see plenty of compound changes. We still have the same wall here with the hole, obviously as an entry point. But kind of like the other side of Pearl over here, I'm kind of guiding with my mouse. This style of kind of a maze is on that other side, and it's actually really cool to see that they're involving more of that style and just spreading it across the compound more, because you do have these hedges over here from before, and it wasn't a terrible way to come into the compound, but this is very open, and especially if you're trying to 1v3 or something, or clutch up. This can be a very terrible area to be in, because if you just get tagged once, or there's a mob and something inconvenient, you don't have a whole lot of space to go, or a whole lot of corners to hide behind. And obviously over here you have plenty of room to hide around corners and try to get away if you need to, or just have cover also from these little, I don't know what to call this, the tops of this maze, to safely get closer in, to try to move into the compound and be more aggressive. And they got rid of this tree here, but there is another entryway to the upper level from the front. So we still have the same ladder on the side here, but let's actually zoom in a little bit. So this ladder was already here, as we can see. But now we have this little ramp of the broken deck, and I'm curious if this is going to be the same on the back side, because this is the exact structure basically that was on the back side of Pearl Plantation from before. So there's the same, broken deck. You could climb up the back, and then there's another back door pretty much just like this. And obviously they added this new kind of building here instead of the white shed. I don't think we can see too much on the sides here. We still have obviously the staircase right here we can see. I think that's really it. Nothing really changed on the top of the building. It'd be pretty insane if they allowed us access to the top. It does look like the screen is still here. I'm assuming it's going to have this little open square here behind this building. So nothing too crazy. No, not a whole lot of changes, but enough changes to change it up. And those are also my favorite like changes, by the way. Whenever they mess with compounds, add new cracks, I said this in my last video, those are my favorite updates to see, because it just makes it really makes the game feel fresh again. And I wish they would do that more frequently with just in between events, and honestly just do it during events. Like, just if you're already kind of experimenting with certain perks or, you know, changes anyway, might as well do it. This is also just a really nice image of Darren Shipyard. If you, obviously, you know, there's a lot of people that don't know the compounds to DeSalle, but this is one of the compounds. I love the image. I do obviously feel like this is probably edited in some sort of way. It does look really nice. I don't notice any like big structural changes, I don't think. I'm pretty sure this catwalk has always been here, I think. But I'm not entirely sure. It's been quite a long time, obviously, since I've been on DeSalle. This boat's always been here. It's a part of the compound. Pretty sure these were here. There was always side little houses over here. Nothing too crazy from what I can tell. And another just great screenshot of Pelican. Pelican is a very hit-and-miss compound for some people. I feel like it's kind of a similar vibe with, obviously, Fort Bolden and the other prison. So, you know, but it's really fun. I like this compound. You can actually get a lot of crazy angles from over here on this side of Pelican and looking over into, I think, Seven Sisters. I think it was up kind of on this wall. This wall was kind of here before. I had an insane shot a long time ago from here all the way to, like I said, I think it's Seven Sisters with a like silenced Vetterli or something like that. It was a crazy shot because it was like max range for the Vetterli at the time. Because not every gun one tap killed from any distance like it does now. There used to be a big giant tree here, actually, I just noticed. I think that's gone, which I think is kind of what the remainder of this is. So now we have the YouTube trailer. So let's go ahead and play this. It's obviously the judge.
You bottled madness and sold it as salvation. Fate has ruled you guilty. This time, you won't escape your sentence.
Judgment of the Fool. So, we rewind this and kind of break this down a little bit. Now, maybe this is just a little bit of, I don't even know how to put it. I don't want to say, like, there's a lot of people in the community that complain and really have, like, weird kind of, I don't know, like, things against certain people that work at Crytek. But this guy's voice kind of sounds like David Fifield's, I think.
You bottled madness and
like, am I tripping?
Sold it as salvation. Fate has ruled you guilty.
Like, I feel like from hearing him in interviews, I could like if they asked him to do the voice, I feel like I could kind of connect the dots, but maybe I'm just tripping. I know he's no longer with Crytek. For anybody that doesn't know, David Fifield was like the new general manager for Crytek at one point, but he's no longer with them as far as I know. Oh, then
This time, you won't escape your sentence.
This image is right here. So, this image of this card, these are the accolade cards. I believe they still call them the accolades. I could be wrong. But it's got this kind of like box with like 3 or 4 different heads with a knife in one hand. Kind of like, yeah, like a demon tail in the other. Some crazy art. Because Hunt always kills it with the trailers, in my opinion. And this one obviously says the Fool. And then we have Judgement on this other card. But I'm curious if this is just, you know, something creative for the trailer to obviously show the battle between this judge and the fool that was sitting in front of him, or if these are going to be some images of like the new perks or some sort of new perks we're going to get. So yeah, the trailer's awesome though, pretty pumped for it, but the juicy stuff is right here. So Crytek posted this on the 2nd, which was just like 2-3 days ago. And this is all the juicy information about at least some stuff that's coming with this new event. So obviously DeSalle is coming back to talk about obviously all the new lighting, all the fancy stuff they're doing with all the graphics and remastering it and all that fun stuff. Judgment of the Fool. So the Bayou's hunting grounds are stained red and with vengeance as the fool, or as the pale judge storms into action, hell-bent on delivering justice to the fool, whose deranged sins have finally caught up to him. Amidst the storm of chaos and betrayal, players can unlock rewards, among them 3 unique and haunting new hunters. So the Fool, the Pale Judge, and then Dorothy Alice. So those, I imagine, are the 3 main skins that are going to be coming in the Battle Pass. Disfigured, deranged, and snake oil salesman on the run. His face was mangled by victims of his poisonous miracle mouth all cure. The Pale Judge once offered him redemption, but that chance is no more. You know what, I'm not going to read. Well, you know what, I'll read them anyway. For the descriptions. A regular judge in Mammon's Gulch turned fallen lawman. He traded his gavel for a gun and a deck of tarot cards. So I guess those were the 2 cards we saw. He dishes out sentences on behalf of fate itself, and he's here to deal the final verdict to the fool. Now, I'm not a big lore guy. I might catch some strays for that, because there are some people that are insanely obsessed with the lore for Hunt Showdown. I've never once read the lore. Like in a lot of the past events, there was a whole page for unlocking the sections of the lore to read through. I never once went through and like read any of those sections. So I don't know if any of this is linked at all. It's cool to see stories back and forth with visuals, but I'm just not. I hate reading. You don't call me an elementary school kid, but I just hate reading, man. Dorothy Alice, the last survivor of the Alice family, from once, I don't even know how to pronounce this, I'm not going to lie to you, idyllic Stillwater Bayou. She was found alone by the fool. She hides him from the Pale Judge in the ruined homestead of Alice Farm. Which is kind of interesting to see that obviously this is a judge from Mammon's Gulch. Like that's his origin, is he's from there, I'm assuming. But her and the fool are hiding in Alice Farm. So, actually, I just realized Dorothy. So this is actually the owner of Alice Farm, is what I'm going to assume, or the daughter of the farm family. But kind of cool that it's linking all the way back to like the Stillwater Bayou in regards to the lore. It's kind of neat. The chaos doesn't end there, as the Judgment of the Fool brings new gameplay twists and mechanics. So, okay, so this is a mechanic. So, pledge mark theft. Pillage fallen hunters like a bayou scavenger. So, I'm pretty sure this is just kind of the mechanic. Pledge mark theft. Yeah, what this sounds like to me, I mean, we had this during the last couple events where you could loot, you know, enemy hunters that you killed and get the remaining pledge marks that they had. So, that's kind of what it sounds like to me anyway. the wage spur or trait, the wage spur. I can't talk today. Trait wage spur. Gamble your hard-earned pledge marks for random traits. Now, what I think this is going to be is literally just a rebrand of the fortune teller machine that we had in the Murder Circus event. I literally think it's going to be the exact same, like it's going to work the exact same way. It's just rebranded essentially, because David Fifield just kind of like threw himself into the game as a fortune teller. So Bounty Clash MMR, a matchmaking rating to go all in on its own for the game mode without risking the separate bounty hunt rating. So I'm curious if this is just gonna affect the MMR, or if this is also gonna have separate stats. It doesn't say anything about stats. It does just say MMR, so that's what I'm assuming. But you know, I'm curious if they're leaving anything out on that. I'm not crazy about Bounty Clash anymore. I feel like it got stale pretty quick, to be honest, for me at least. But I also just genuinely enjoy Bounty Hunt because that's all I've played the last 5 years. You know, we didn't have Bounty Clash until like sometime within the last year. So when when the game first came out and all you had was Bounty Hunt and then Soul Survivor for like 4 years, it's just what I'm used to. You know, it's the bread and butter. Unique event traits. So access previous event exclusive traits. Gunrunner, Corpseer, as well as the all-new Catalyst trait, which brings back and combines some fan favorite conditional trait effects. Now, I'm not entirely sure what to think about when it says old fan favorite conditional trait effects. I guess conditional trait effects, like maybe they kind of like redid one of the old traits and they're calling it something different. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it says it combined, so maybe it's a combo of like some old traits combined into one. But I am not excited for Gunrunner to come back. It's fun to be able to run some loadouts here and there with like to kind of be able to experiment with doing some goofy kind of loadouts, because you can do some somewhat goofy, just obnoxious loadouts, but there's a point where like this, like Gunrunner and Corpseer is also very good. So I'm going to say these are two very good perks where both of them are very viable. So it's not like we're just getting Gunrunner and then two like terrible other event trait perks or event traits to where it's obvious that everyone's going to pick Gunrunner. But if you just care about meta and just getting kills, you're going to pick Gunrunner. Like, that's just how it is. Everybody's going to have a full-size shoddy in the back with a Mosin. Like, I'm in 6-star MMR on PC and console, and that's just what's going to happen. Corpseer, I think, is really good for when you're, like, you can run it with any loadout, and it's just good to just constantly have sight without a bounty, because it's an easy way to be able to combat the bounty carriers and obviously know where they are, because obviously they can pinpoint where you are. And it's just easy to also figure out where the third person is if you kill two and then someone's hiding. Like, this is one of the best perks we've had in a long time, I think, in my opinion. And I really wish they would just make it a part of the game somehow. Even if it's just added in as a normal trait, I think that'd be sick. But at the same time, I'm a big fan of bounty hunt and hunt needing to proactively keep like the objective of the game alive. So now that I'm kind of thinking about it, I think I'm eating my words a little bit. Corpseer would kind of defeat that purpose, because people would just get Corpseer and then never go for the bounty. So never mind. I don't think it needs to be in the game. But either way, I'm more excited about Corpseer coming back temporarily more than I am Gunrunner, and I'm curious to see what this Catalyst trait is. Furthermore, hunters ought to watch their back. A new enemy called the Brute roams the woods. A monstrosity rumored to be Ursa Mortis' failed offspring or its attempted meal. So what I think this description of the Brute is, we'll bring up this image again. So it says failed offspring or attempted meal. Now we have this hole here where it looks like it may be like, because Ursa was, you know, kind of like two bears in one. I'm curious if this is kind of covering a part of it. Like maybe the offspring was also going to be like double-headed, but maybe one half of it's like bitten off or eaten. Actually, that would be pretty sick. Like literally and figuratively, if that was kind of the lore behind it, because we just see this one half, this one side. So I'm curious if it's just gonna be like one bear that is basically has the what would have been the second bear kind of partially ripped apart or ripped off. It'd be like brutal. But we'll just have to see. And I'm curious to see if it's gonna act the same as Ursa. But update 2.4 refined, rebalanced, and relentless. Update 2.4 is packed with fixes and tweaks to sharpen Hunt Showdown. 1896's signature tension. Over 100 UI issues have been addressed, and many more bugs squashed, while audio clarity, enemy AI, and meta adjustments ensure every gunfight feels deadlier. I'm not crazy about them touching the audio, because I feel like every time they touch it, it throws me off, and it pisses me off, to be just quite frank. But yeah, and that's really it. The verdict awaits. Mark your calendars as Judgment of the Fool is coming to deliver justice and carnage this summer. Stay tuned on the official date and keep those rifles loaded. So I said, I think we're going to get the official date basically tomorrow when this video comes out. So we'll see though. It might be nothing. It'd be insane if they had this shit ready to just drop and just bang, drop that shit on a fucking Friday for the weekend. That'd be banging. If that happens, I will be streaming as much as I can, by the way. But yeah, we'll just have to see. So I think that's really about it. I didn't really, do an intro in the beginning of the video, but please, if you enjoyed this kind of video and enjoy my insight, please leave a like, subscribe, and the likes on the videos really show me what you guys are enjoying, and I'll do more of those types of videos. So like I said, the last video did really well. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you got somebody that plays Hunt or is maybe new to Hunt and is on the edge of buying Hunt because they're kind of not sure, this is definitely going to be the time to buy Hunt and get involved and try it out during like a new crazy event. So especially with the return of the new map, I think this will actually bring a lot of old and new players back, especially old players, because we used to have this map and they took it away for so long. So again, please leave a like, subscribe. I appreciate all of you guys, and most importantly, stay safe in the Bayou.